We are never getting in there.
We're never going to be the rest of the 49ers now.
Now, ladies, don't you know who I am?
Brock Purdy?
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Close enough. Follow me. Evening, sir. I'm just going to slip through.
Not so fast! The line is back there!
Well, I'll have you know I am the 49ers quarterback.
You don't look like Trey Lance.
What? Trey Lance hasn't played since week 1. I'm Brock Purdy.
I don't watch football.
Okay, very funny. I was told that 49ers players could get into the relevancy.
That's true.
What?
Now get to the back of the line!
Look, I could be the next Tom Brady. You could not be letting in the next Tom Brady.
Oh, are you?
No, probably not.
Then get to the back of the line!
They just keep letting people in. They don't even look like football players. Well, I mean, that guy could look like a kicker. Wait, that's Robbie Gould.
Robbie, hey, Robbie. Hey.
Hey, kid, no autographs right now.
What? No, it's me, Brock Purdy.
You said Prudy?
Purdy.
Hey, Robbie!
Grond, how the hell are you?
Would you mind? For my nephew?
Yeah, of course. What the hell? You got my usual table, right?
Oh, come on, Robbie knows me.
Rob, you know this guy?
Never seen him.
What? What is this?
We found the bouncer's daughter's friend's after-school tutor.
See ya, Doc Purdy.
Brock Prudy.
All your eyes, they tell the truth. All the line from me to you. We know it's tangled up in blue. What if we unravel? We could go anywhere to get this soon.
Hello, welcome. You're watching Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world. It's championship week. We got 4 teams with 2 spots in the Super Bowl. I'm your host, Rocky Foré, here with the Steamroller. How you doing, Steen?
Good, Rocky. Good. It's hard to believe, man. Episode 20. Episode
21.
What?
It's 21.
Oh, it is 21. You're right. You're right. No, wait.
Yeah, it's
We did
21.
18. Is it?
Yep, because you got a mark
19,
right on the
yeah,
link.
you're right. The divisional wild card. Yeah, you're right. 21. Even harder to believe. It's episode 21. And of course, our well-earned reward at the end of 21 weeks, we get a week off. So, but of course, we don't really get the week off because we'll be planning our super huge, spectacular Super Bowl extravaganza featuring the 2 guys you see here, plus Mason and David and Loud, plus me and Rocky. Should be a lot of fun. We'll talk about the game. We'll give our favorite prop plays, and yeah, we'll try to figure out what kind of Gatorade they're going to be dumping. So, before we get going, of course, I want to remind you we got to pay some bills around here, and nothing does that better than the good folks at No House Advantage. It is fantasy sports redefined. You can win up to 21 times your original bet playing player over-unders against the house, or if you want to play like regular schmoes like yourself, you can do that as well for cash prizes. Just use the code WNW when you set up that first account. Pick yourself up a nice $50 deposit bonus. All right. No House Advantage. Got the app, got the website. Check it out. Do it. You'll love it. All right. So without further ado, let's get to the introductions right here. My first gentleman, and I use that term loosely. It's good to see him sitting upright. I understand he's been in a fetal position since Sunday. So it's good to see him up and taking some steps. You know him, you love him. It's America's favorite Buffalo Bills fan. It is Chris King, the king of parlays. What's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot, Scott. How's it going with you?
It's going well. My team's still alive in the playoffs, so I'm doing very, very well. That was not the best performance by the Buffalo Bills there on Sunday.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it shows that, Leslie Frazier has probably reached the point where he doesn't change his game plan, because if you looked in the first half of that game, Burrow was I think he was 16 of 20 against zone defense, and when they played man, he was 2 of 7 for 14 yards. So, of course, let's stick in the zone and let him throw passes to wide open guys standing around. They looked like they had time to make a sandwich. It was a disappointing showing, but I mean, these things happen. It just happened to be that it was the worst week of the year to play your worst game of the season.
Yep, that's exactly right. Have you signed the petition to have no more snow games in Buffalo?
I don't think the snow was a factor. I mean, afterwards I went on YouTube and watched the 1990 AFC divisional game when there was snow when Miami was in town. And one thing I learned from that is I miss all the old commentators, because when you listen to Jim Nantz and Tony Romo 3 weeks in a row, like I had to do, it gets old. They mispronounce names. Like, I didn't know that Mike Milano was a linebacker for us. It makes me miss the days of Paul McGuire and Marv Albert, or Cricky and Trumpy, and hell, even Charlie Jones.
All right, there you go. So Chris is still bummed about the Bills, and he's old. Good to know, buddy.
Hey, you're older than me.
I miss Red Barber, Vin Scully. There you go.
You miss Hank Stram.
You know I do.
To be fair, I do miss Vin Scully. To be fair.
Okay, so that voice over there, the guy who is apparently, what he tells us, not being held hostage, and
allegedly
not being held hostage. You know him, you love him. He's the pride of Brooklyn, straight out of Brooklyn. Scott Reichel, what's up, Scott?
I'm doing pretty well. Cowboys lost, so I had a mental breakdown, and now I'm in here. So I have a nice room. People keep checking up on me to make sure I'm okay. But no, I'm fine. Happy to be here. Looking forward to going through the AFC and NFC title games. I can say that I'm shocked that neither of my teams are here, because when are my teams ever here? So, bit of a fun season for the most part, but it is what it is. I'm happy with the overall games we got, though. You can make an argument the Bills and the Bengals are kind of interchangeable, but we got 4 of the 5 best teams in the league, and that's really all I can ask for, right?
Yep, I think that's exactly right. And I don't think, with the exception of the 49ers, I don't think anybody played better football down the stretch than the Bengals. There's no question about it. They've been in fuego. So we've got a Seattle fan, a Buffalo fan, and a Bills/Cowboys fan. That's
Rachel likes the Jets.
That's some sad shit right there. I'll tell you what, Rachel, if you were to go ahead and buy a piece of team paraphernalia right now, would you get Jets or Cowboys?
I'd get a Jets one now.
That's what I was thinking. I think the Jets team, that's the team on the rise. And
now,
it looks like Dallas.
Just out of curiosity, did any of you take Brett Maher to miss an extra point this week? Was that one of Rocky's proppies?
I think Rocky's proppies would have been missing 7.
Oh, well, that would have worked, I guess.
Unfortunately, he only attempted 1. But I know the odds on that were like 370 that cashed because they ended up blocking the kick. Would have been 10 feet to the left anyway. But yeah, now the Cowboys don't have to worry about it because they're out of the playoffs. So there you go. But
there you go. All right. So, as they said, just 2 games this week, and the lines are extremely similar. In the first one's 49ers, Eagles. Eagles at home, favored by 2.5 points. 46.5 is the number. Guys, I think we may have a problem here with this Eagles run defense. I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to find a fair amount of success against this Eagles run defense, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game. I think the Niners are going to be able to run the ball. Now, I was a little surprised they weren't able to run the ball better against Dallas, but Dallas has actually tightened up that run defense here a little bit lately. It is the Eagles' pretty much their one vulnerability, and they're going to find a much stiffer test on the defensive side with that Niners defense. I'm going to take the Niners and the 2.5 points. As far as the total goes, I trust this San Francisco defense right now. Let's play the under 46.5.
Yeah, for me, I'm with you on the under. Under is probably my favorite play. I thought both defenses were great last week, and Purdy, he was good when he needed to be. It looked like Shanahan was still extremely careful with him, and he wasn't exactly letting Purdy take many shots downfield, either by the Cowboys' defensive scheme or just based on the fact that he's still a 7th-round pick, and Shanahan wanted to make sure he didn't do anything stupid. Either way, it ended up working out because the defense was great. About 2 months ago, my Super Bowl prediction was 49ers Bengals. And nothing's really changed for me. I got to stick with what's worked so far. I'm going to lean to the Niners. I'll put it this way. Everyone's going to take Philly, and I get because they were so good last week. The Cowboys are significantly better than the Giants. It's not even close. I'm not going to overreact to how good they looked against the Giants because I think we can agree the Giants, when they're not facing off against the Vikings defense, not exactly a great football team. They were pretty good. It was a nice story. They're not an amazing team by any means. I think Dallas was fine. Dallas was a pretty good team. And unfortunately for them, Dak was awful. But the Niners defense has been great. And I do think at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts had a very good game last week. Statistically could have been better, but they also kind of took their foot off the gas. And the Niners are going to generate pressure. I think they'll be able to force him into a couple of mistakes. And I do think you'll see a very close game at the end. But my favorite play is going to be the under. I think that it's extremely dangerous to underestimate a Niners team that's won, 12 straight? Seems like nobody's giving them a chance, which I think is a little bit crazy. I love the under, though. I see a very, very physical battle between two teams that are pretty even on paper. I'll go with the under.
I don't think it's a hard case to make that the Niners have been the better team than the Eagles over the last 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Just no question about it there. So, and that was you bring up a great point. It was a great weekend to cash in on overreaction with wins over less than stellar teams, as the Giants were overvalued after their win over Minnesota, and the Cowboys were overvalued after their win over Tampa Bay. And both of those teams lost and failed to cover. So, Chris, what you got for this one?
Well, I think you guys are on to something here. If you look, we know the Eagles aren't going to run the ball for 268 yards like they did last week. We know the Giants were a sieve defensively on the ground. The 49ers only gave up 100 yards or more on the ground 5 times this season, and 2 of those were 101 and 104. You look down the schedule here, they gave up 33 yards to Miami, 36 to Seattle the first time. They're going to make the Eagles work. And, as much as I don't like Travarius Ward and Jimmy Ward and Fred Ward and everybody else, Ward Cleaver, the 49ers are an aggressive defense. As long as Purdy doesn't get rattled, because that pass rush of Philadelphia is tough, if he can avoid turnovers, the 49ers have a great chance here. Like you said, they're going to run the ball against the Eagles. Philadelphia gave up 118 yards on the ground last week, almost 6 yards a carry, to the Giants in a game that they won by 31 points. They gave up more than 100 yards more often than not this season on the ground, just 5 games where they held a team under 100. And one of those games, they gave up 99 to the Colts. I like the 49ers here. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, like Reichel said. I don't expect to see more than 24 points on either side, and that might even be stretching it. So I'd lean towards the under as well, but I'll take San Francisco with the points.
Yeah, and in fairness, once you get a big lead like that, if the Giants still want to run the football, they're going to let them do it. If you want to let them get 7-8 yards a pop, and you're down 24 points late in the third quarter, knock yourself out, run the ball all you want to. So it could be skewed by still running the ball in garbage time there instead of passing it.
I mean, Barkley only had 9 carries the whole game, so I mean,
that's fair. I know Jones had some yards too.
Yeah, the one thing that surprised me about the Giants is that they didn't get Isaiah Hodgins involved, because he had been such a valuable target for them down the stretch, and
he was also injured
him twice.
Right? Didn't he have an ankle issue?
He might have gotten hurt during the game. I didn't watch.
No, I'm saying before the game against Minnesota, I believe he injured his ankle, and he was playing, but he definitely was well below 100%.
Yeah, but come on, you're throwing to Richie James. I mean, James had 10 targets. Here's my big question about the Giants. When are they just going to say Kenny Golladay sucks and cut him?
Next year?
Yeah. Probably.
Rocky, what do you got here? You jumping on the train?
I'm jumping on the train. I got the 49ers. I think it's going to be one of those classic Shanahan 49ers games where Brock Purdy throws maybe 12 passes. And they just run all over the Eagles. This is a matchup nightmare for the Eagles. I think the only team that they would not want to face in the playoffs is who they are facing. 49ers. I just got the under in this game. I think it's going to be both teams under 24 points.
It is dangerous to go against Philly at home, and I am kind of on the fence if I actually want to bet the 49ers. I probably won't. I think the side's kind of a coin flip, which is why I want to get the points. Maybe it goes to 3. We'll see what happens. I really do love the under in this game. And you're talking about, Rocky, the point that you just made, which was maybe they'll just mimic the game they had against Green Bay X amount of years ago. They'll tell Garoppolo drop back 8 times. Mostert went for 200 yards, but they'll just throw in Mitchell, they'll throw in McCaffrey. I will point out that Jordan Davis is back for Philly, so the run defense is the stats are a little bit off because Davis missed some time and the run defense was awful when he was out. But the Niners have an identity. They're a very physical football team on both sides. Hurts was great against the Giants defense, which was awful against Kirk Cousins for 3 quarters. And then they ran the ball down their throats. Like, we had a lot of questions about Hurts entering the game because of the injury and the fact he only played against the Giants backups in week 18 in the last month. He was great for a quarter and a half, and then he had to do nothing for the final 2.5 quarters. I'm not sure Hurts is going to look sharp against this elite defense.
Okay. Very good. All right, guys. Hey, we're halfway done. How about that? It seems like just one game, and then we're halfway done. That's exactly what it is. Before we go to break, I want to remind everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe, all that stuff. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you're playing this championship weekend. And, of course, if you're looking to up your game a little bit, Chris and I, and Just Parlays, which Chris does as well, all have premium picks available. Check out the Experts tab over at the winnerswiners.com website. And we'll be right back with our take on the Kansas City-Cincinnati AFC Championship game right after this.
Headed out to water the beans again? You know it. Dude, it's been like 3 months and you haven't even seen a sprout. Isn't it about time that you admit that you were duped? No way. The guy told me they were magic beans and I believed him, so you just gotta have faith. Now, where's my clam chowder? Maybe the reason they're not sprouting is because you're feeding them clam chowder. Nonsense. Don't you think that... What? What about my life do you want to nitpick next? You shouldn't put a spoon in a microwave. Oh, sure. Next you're going to tell me I can't put my cat in the dryer? What? It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. Now that's some serious shit. Ha-ma-na-na-na-na. Ha-na-na-na-na-na. Ha-ma-na-na-na-na. What the heck? Let me guess. You put a spoon in the microwave. How did you know that, mister? You're not the first, kid. Wait, you look familiar. Are you Tom Brady? TB12, baby. But you look so old. What year is this? 2048. 2048? And you're still playing? For the Chiefs? What happened to Mahomes? Well, Sonny, he retired 10 years ago. And they're actually called the Kansas City football team now. That's incredible. But why? Don't you have enough money? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you make? It's not how much. It's what. What? I get paid in countries. Countries? Yeah. Every year I get a new country. First I started small, with Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, and then I moved to the Baltics and the stands. This season, I'm coming for Africa. No South America? The continent with Brazil on it? Hard pass. That makes sense. So, Mr. Brady, can you Google me and show me what I'm like? Kid, you're not gonna like it. Tell me. In 2031, you commit a double homicide with an ice pick and are caught running around naked in the streets of San Francisco. Wow. San Francisco. That's not a good thing. Here. Take this. It'll help you. What is it? I've written down the length of the national anthem and the color of Gatorade used at every Super Bowl since 2002. Whoa. Uh-oh. Remember, Rocky, use it wisely. Oh, hey, you're back. So did you learn your lesson? I've learned nothing. What's that? Oh, just a little something that's gonna change my future. Hi, I'm Donovan Peoples-Jones, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, and when I need flowers, gifts, and shaved ice, I head on down to King Dinky's Flowers, Gifts, and Shaved Ice. Howdy, yo, I'm King Dinky. I got all your flowers, gifts, and shaved ice needs and more. I've got furniture, I've got old VCRs, I've got power tools. Hell, I'll sell my boat to you if I can make a buck. King Dinky has everything. I'll sell you my kidney. Well, not everything. I don't sell t-shirts. No way, Jose. King Dinky has everything but t-shirts. I've never understood why anyone would show their forearm to the world. I've got a clock with a bird on it. I've got a clock with a cow on it. I've got a clock with clocks on it. I've got watches. I've got 4/GE toasters. I got pickles. I got cornichinos. I got piccolos. I got cornettos. I've got all of them. I love King Dinky. He's my best friend. I got Polly Pockets, the little ones. I've got Lego Star Wars sets. Only episode 1. I've got so many Harry S. Truman biographies, you drown in them. So come on down to King Dinky's today, just right off exit 76, just left the casino, and a little bit down the road, then a right past the second shelf, not the first. The first will get you out a little more towards Youngstown. That's Dinky with the Y, not an I-E. Come find me past that second shelf, go all the way to the three-way stop, and it's a left. Or was it right? No, it's a left, yeah, because there's a Petco right there on the corner. I took my dog there, he was throwing up a bunch. Nice people, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong. They thought he was eating a bunch of grass. Just got some suggestions, not any medicine. Well, I did get him a new toy, one of those balls with the rope sticking out. Yeah, he likes those. So turn on the Petco and you'll find me, King Dinky, just 4 miles down the road, just right there next to the old Sizzler that's now a one-screen movie theater that lets you bring your own food in. I got bills to pay. I need to sell some stuff. I was born in 1801. I got toothpaste. I got Bill Clinton's toe clippings. I got old newspapers from when the war ended. Which war? I don't know. I can't read. I'm $457,000 in debt. I brush my teeth with a bird's leg. I've got boils up and down my thighs, the good kind. One time Michael Jordan was sick, so I took his place. And I suck. I even got adult videos. I've never even watched the Browns play. I've made out with Roger Clemens. Craig Biggio's my uncle. I love the feeling of another human in my arms. Is that wrong to me?
Come down to King Dinky's today. Just take exit 76, just left of the casino, then go a little ways down the road and take a right after the second Shelly C, then keep going all the way to the three-way stop and take a left towards Petco, then go 4 miles and it's next to the old Sizzler.
I'm King Dinky.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second half of our show. We've talked about the NFC. Now we're going to talk about the AFC. As we mentioned, these lines very, very similar. This one has the Bengals on the road, favored by a 2.5 as of Tuesday afternoon. Good time to remind you guys, we do tape this Tuesday afternoon. So, of course, if you're watching this on Thursday and there's been some sort of injury and the line's now 9, don't blame us. We didn't see that coming. So I'm not sure we saw this movement coming anyway. In 46.5, once again, is the total, just like it was in the Eagles-Niners game. This number has moved significantly. Opened up at Kansas City, -2, has now switched around to 2.5 across the board on the Bengals. Guys, I know this is a lot of it's driven by the record of Joe Burrow against the Chiefs. He is 3-0 against the Chiefs, plus Mahomes has that gimpy ankle. First of all, I'll address the 3-0. In each one of those games, Kansas City had a significant lead. In the first game this season, they were up 4, driving for a touchdown to put it out of reach. In the fourth quarter, Kelsey has his one and only fumble of the season. No other fumbles, just that one. And it certainly changed the complexion of the game. Butker had a chance to tie it late and missed that. In last year's conference championship game, and as you know, they were up 21-3. Had the stupid play there before halftime. They didn't take the 3. Called a terrible swing pass right into the teeth of the Bengals defense to Hill. Never had a chance. And that seemed to give the Bengals momentum to take the lead and hold it in the second half. And in the regular season last year, we were up 28-17 at Cincinnati at halftime. Ended up losing that one 34-31. So if you look for drastic changes the Chiefs have to make to be able to win this game, I don't think there are any. They've shown they can be competitive with this team. Certainly trade them blow for blow and have the advantage at some point in the game. Just a matter of the defense stepping up and holding them down. So, I'm really torn on this.
Just take the Chiefs already. It's going to happen. Just do it already.
Terrible. They've been terrible against the number all season long. They have just been absolutely dreadful.
Is this the first time they're getting points all year? You said against the number, they're favored all the time. Like, I don't know if that's the same
I
situation.
don't know. Were they favored against Buffalo back in October?
At home?
I can't remember. I know
it was a home game.
I know it was a tight line.
Saying it was a home game, so I'm assuming Kansas City was favored.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay got off to that bad start, so they were favored when they went to Tampa too.
I believe they were favored by 3 against Tampa. I don't know about the Buffalo.
I'll take a look here and see what it shows.
The point is, Kansas City's not an underdog often.
They were 2.5. They were 2.5 point dogs, so the same as this one.
Okay.
Against the Buffalo Bills, and by the way, they were 2-point dogs in Tampa.
Yeah, because that line shifted late, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
the point is, they're not underdogs that often. So you can mention all the trends of they're awful against the number. I get it. They're usually laying more than a touchdown.
Well, it means they underperform versus the expectations. I mean, I think you can still carry that through.
I think you can, but the point is, Kansas City, we know at the end of games doesn't care about scoring; they just try to drain clock.
Well, that's definitely true.
That's what I'm saying. So the play calling is different when you're favored by more than a touchdown. Your only concern is draining clock, as opposed to being picked to win the game or keep it close.
And nothing seems to come easy for this team. Just in games they should dominate, they don't. They just they don't keep their foot on the throat. Andy is notorious for getting conservative in the second half with the lead, and this is a team that it really jumped up and bit him. Hopefully, he's learned some lessons. We'll see. I am really torn on this because I have said all along I think that Cincinnati has been playing the best football in the in the AFC at least.
Do you think it goes to 3? Looks like we're headed that way based on the amount of movement so far.
It's hard to say it's not after we've seen a massive amount of movement here just on Tuesday. I know we've seen 1.5 points of movement just today. So, if you want to do that, you can hold for 3. You can take the Chiefs to win it at a nice plus price. I think they're going to have something for them. I really do. I think the defense is going to have to step up. Now, Buffalo, that was one of my biggest surprises last week is Buffalo wasn't able to do any damage against that depleted offensive line of Cincinnati, down 3 starters. You'd have thought Buffalo would have had the advantage there. I think perhaps that Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and Frank the Tank, I think they can step up, and I think they need to step up and have a big game if the Chiefs are going to have a shot at this. I'll take the Chiefs. I will. I really was torn.
I think the big issue with Buffalo was not having Daquan Jones because he was a very disruptive one-technique defensive tackle in the middle of that line. He finished, I think he was 13th in pass rush win rate too, and not having him in the middle there to help Oliver and those guys out made it difficult. And it gave
he was number 1 in win rate for an interior lineman.
Yeah, I know who it was. I'm just saying, but that was a big blow for Buffalo because then you had to go from, you either were playing Jordan Phillips, who's basically played with one arm the second half of the season, or Tim Settle, who's a little undersized for playing in that spot. And it made it difficult. I mean, and you point out Cincinnati missing 3 offensive linemen. Don't forget Ted Karras got hurt too, and he kind of gutted it out. They had to put a brace on his knee.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something you got to watch for going forward as well.
Absolutely true. And for those of you that don't know, Chris Jones is the number 1 at win rate for interior defensive line. You think it would be Aaron Donald. It's not.
Well, Donald missed, how many games too?
Well, that doesn't affect your win rate.
It goes by win rate, so that's based on average.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, though, you have to wonder how he would have done had he actually been able to play the second half of the season. Maybe he could have gotten back to where he was.
Yeah, can't make the club in the tub, buddy.
That's true.
Reichel, what do you got here?
So, as I said before, 2 months ago, I had Niners Bengals in the Super Bowl, and it's shaping out okay, I guess. One of them's a 2.5 point favorite, the other one's a 2.5 point underdog, so it's kind of close. But I think based on the betting line here, I think it's gonna go to 3 at some point. I think I'm gonna take the points. Getting Kansas City at home, I understand that Cincinnati's been playing great football. And let's be real, ever since Von Miller got hurt, the Bills' defensive line was mediocre at best, or especially down the stretch was kind of leaving some to be desired. And they basically no-showed the game last week. And the Bengals, in bad weather, just had a lot of quick passes and they kept playing zone. So just a bunch of wide open guys. I do think the offensive line's a concern, especially against Frank Clark and against Chris Jones. Mahomes, I don't know what percentage he's going to be at, but we know that he's always a threat no matter what happens. I like the under in this game. I think you're going to see a lower scoring game, especially with the Chiefs. Really just necessity to have long drives. They really don't have any home run hitters on the team. They brought in Valdez-Scantling for that, who's done nothing of the sort for the last, 2-3 months. I can't even think of his longest reception in the entire season. Like, I can't even remember or recall anything he's done in the last 2 months. But the point is, I see the Chiefs trying to sustain a lot of long drives. Cincinnati's going to stick with their game plan, trying to get the ball out of Burrow's hands quickly, trying to prevent them from getting killed with that many offensive linemen out. I see a lot of long drives. I like the under in this game as my favorite play. But Kansas City getting points in Arrowhead, I am tempted by it, especially if the line goes to 3. I get Cincinnati's undefeated against Kansas City, but Steehn already mentioned how Kansas City's led by several points in each of those games. They just fell apart in the fourth quarter each time. I think I'll lean Kansas City plus the points. My favorite play is the under.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be a lot of long drives without a lot of home runs being hit. I know that they will try to do that with Chase, but they've actually been able to bottle up Chase. He gashed us in world record fashion the first time around for 266 yards, but the last 2 games they've kind of kept him under wraps. So
he had a touchdown in the last meeting, right?
Yeah,
no, he had 7 for 97 in the game earlier this year.
Did he have a touchdown or no?
No.
Okay.
I thought he had one. I didn't have one touchdown.
Nope. T. Higgins
and
Chris Evans caught touchdowns.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the box score because I was trying to look up Valdez-Scantling.
I will say this: probably my favorite play in this game is Mahomes over a half interception, and the reason is with the right ankle being hurt. Everybody talks about, well, the last time he had a high ankle sprain, he came back and threw for 440 yards the next week against Jacksonville. However, that was a left ankle sprain. It's a lot different with the left ankle and the right ankle because your right ankle is where you're generating all your power. You're generating all your power from the lower half of your body as you push and drive with that right foot as you pivot through, make the throw. Makes a hell of a difference. And if you're not able to follow through, everything's going to go high. So there's going to be at least 1 or 2 passes where he tries to throw the ball 20 yards down the field. It's going to fucking sail on him. And if you've got the safety in the right position, you're going to get the interception. I like the over a half an interception for Mahomes quite a bit. Plus, this is a Kansas City team's been a little turnover prone. So I think that's a solid play as well, even more so than usual. Chris.
And to your point about Kansas City being turnover prone, if there's a team that forces turnovers, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw them do it all season long.
Very punchy team. They are trained to punch, man. They are trained to punch that ball from behind. They will absolutely do that.
I mean, you look and they forced. I'm just trying to take a look here. 24 turnovers over the course of the year. So they finished +6 in the takeaway giveaway game. Just looking at that first meeting that we saw earlier this year, Joe Mixon didn't play in that game. I don't remember what it was. He had an ankle problem or something.
Didn't matter. P. Ryan had 106 with 21 carries. So
yeah, and caught 6 passes as well. And Burrow ran the ball 11 times.
He did.
You don't see that very often either.
Nope. And it does show that he was under pressure all day long. They were living in the backfield for that entire game. He was able to. He's greasy. He's greasy in the pocket, man. He is.
The weird part is that they had all that pressure, and they only got 1 sack in that game, which points to the fact that he was running for his life.
Yep.
But he made plays.
I will tell you this, and that's the other aspect of Mahomes' game that it takes away. As I've talked about this before with both of you guys, nobody moves better in the pocket than he does. Nobody feels pressure before it gets there better than Mahomes does. He's always moving around.
He's always like Marino used to be.
Always sliding to give himself the best throwing lanes possible. And that ankle injury is definitely going to hurt that kind of mobility.
And that's a big thing too, because now you have to wonder if they know Mahomes can't scramble, you don't have to worry about necessarily committing a guy as a spy.
Correct.
Keep an eye on him. So
you're also more likely to play man because not everybody they want to have their back turned to him and give him that middle running lane.
Right. So, and we saw what Lou. How the hell do you pronounce his name? Yeah. No, not
Albano.
No, not Captain Lou Albano. Anarumo.
Okay.
You know, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals.
I was going to say probably the most underrated coordinator in the league, but
Yeah, I agree.
he's a hell of a defensive coordinator.
You know, that means you might see them go to the 3-man pass rush that they used in the second half a lot last year and drop 8 guys in coverage. And like Reichel said, you don't have a Tyreek Hill now. And as much as people want to talk about Valdez-Scantling is fast, I've watched him bounce more passes off his hands. He looks like
he's not good. He's not a good receiver.
He's not. He won't be here next year. I think Juju will be. I think they'll sign Juju.
Juju earned it. I mean, they had to experiment and try a cheap option as a deep threat. But Valdez-Scantling's done nothing pretty much since the Raider game on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a couple of catches on the field, but he's definitely not somebody. He's DeMarcus Robinson is basically what.
And that's the main criticism that people have about Cincinnati, which is why I think that their defensive coordinator is so great. The number one corner is Eli Apple, who everyone roasts, who statistically speaking is okay, but everyone just acknowledges that he gets burned all the time and whatever. And yet they held the Bills to basically nothing offensively with him as the number one corner. Diggs at like 30-something yards. And the Chiefs' number one receiver is arguably Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, they don't have any serious threats on the outside. I know Kelsey is technically the number one receiver. You get my point. Eli Apple's going to be matched up on a mediocre receiver, basically, and I think they should be able to hold their own. But getting 3 at home, assuming 3, it's, the crowd's going to be extremely into it. So I'm kind of leaning Chiefs. Once again, my favorite play is the under. I see a very ugly game. The public will blindly take the over because you got Burrow against Mahomes. Every game went under last week, so they're expecting some, return to the mean there. I don't see it. I see an ugly football game, but I'll lean to Kansas City with the better pass rush getting points.
I will say this: there's been some chatter. Eli Apple called it Burrow head, and there's been there's been a little bit of chatter about we're the big dogs and all this. I think the crowd will be extra fired up. I don't think that shit at this level makes a bit of difference to the team. You talk about billboard stuff to put on the locker. Nobody gives a shit about this at this level. If you're not fucking incentivized playing in the AFC Championship game, I don't think.
Well, that's my main point last week, where I saw the Bills losing, and it's like a matter of, I can't believe the Bills are losing because Hamlin spoke to them in the locker room. Like, doesn't that give them extra motivation? No.
Or was it Hamlin?
It's single limit. Oh, that's a whole separate can of worms. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But the point is, it's like teams keep talking about bulletin board material. It matters for regular season games. For playoff games and single elimination, you're always trying to win. You don't need extra motivation when you've spent basically a year trying to get to this point. It's a monumental waste of time. Like, yes, I don't buy it. It's just, you're here trying to win a Super Bowl. May the best team win. That's it.
Especially with two teams that have been to the Super Bowl so recently that they know what it means. It's the moment's not going to be too big for them. It's going to be fine. Now it will fire the crowd up. There'll be some boos for Eli Apple and all that shit, and that may certainly translate into some actual help for the game when the Cincinnati Bengals are on offense.
The Chiefs will be motivated for revenge after last year. Like, no, I think they're motivated to win a Super Bowl.
I don't think the only corner in the league to have his mom try to defend him on social media.
Was that Apple?
Yeah.
Apple personality-wise, he's a dick. But I'm just saying, based on how he's performed this season, he's okay. People hate on him, but the point is Cincinnati's defense has been good anyway with him being the number one corner.
His personality sucks, but at least his defense is terrible.
I'm saying his defense, but if you look at the advanced numbers like Pro Football Focus stuff, he's fine. He's like a mediocre corner. He's fine. But Kansas City doesn't have the weapons to really exploit him because, once again, they got rid of Tyreek Hill. They went cheap, and yes, Mahomes had great MVP-like numbers anyway. He's going to win MVP. But you're looking at one-on-one matchups. If they bracket Kelsey, do you trust the other receivers?
Yes.
Juju, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. So you
is
trust
Hardman
Juju,
going to play? Because I know he didn't play last week. I hadn't heard anything new about him.
Don't know. It doesn't.
Isn't he just a gadget player anyway?
The sentiment
at least
around
he's a guy that can run, and he might be a better pass receiver if you try to go deep than Valdez-Scantling.
The sentiment amongst the fan base seems to be he has played his last game as a Kansas City Chief.
Okay. I figured I'd ask since
he's doing a miniature version of Lamar Jackson.
One of those.
So we'll see. He's officially questionable. You forget Tony. Tony's been a tremendous.
That is true too.
For this team. Not somebody that's necessarily going to stretch the field, but somebody that's great at the yak. Some serious yak attack there. Rocky, what do you got here, buddy?
Did Chris give his pick at the end or no?
Did you give a pick? Did you give a pick?
No, not yet, because we got sidetracked talking about.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so you can finish.
It boils down to I hate both of these teams. I don't like Eli Apple.
I'll take this.
But at the end of the day, I think, if there's a guy that has Mahomes' number and it's not Burrow, it's Amaruno, because he's found so many ways to devise and come up with different pressure packages and everything else. We saw it against Buffalo Sunday where Mike Hilton had 4 pressures recorded on 5 pass rush attempts from the slot corner spot. With Mahomes being gimpy, and I know that, like you were saying before the show started, that, he might recover faster because these things have happened to him before, and, he basically thinks he's Gumby. I just don't know if the Chiefs have the big play, the guy to make the big play down the stretch offensively when they need it, like Hill the last few years. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to give the slight edge to Cincinnati. I don't want them to win, but to be fair, I don't want Kansas City to win either. I just have to lean towards what Cincinnati's done and how well they play on the defensive side of the ball. And if Mahomes was healthy, I'd tell you I'd take the Chiefs. But with us not knowing what he's going to be and how much he's going to be limited, I have to lean towards Cincinnati.
And are you leaning under or over?
I think it's going to stay under. I think you guys are right. It's going to be more of a ball control, methodical, grind the clock, and try to keep the ball away from the other quarterback type of situation.
So the Chiefs have been scoring all year. It's been long drives. It's not really a quick strike offense anymore. It's just a sustainable, stay ahead of the chains, and they're the best team on third down in the league, and the worst team on third and short. It is very, very frustrating. So, Rocky, you got some thoughts?
Yes, I do. I am a student of history. The last 3 games, Joe Burrow versus the Chiefs. Each game, the Bengals have won by 3 points, which is more than 2.5. Those games have had totals of 51, 51, and 65, all over 46.5. So I ain't changing it until they prove me wrong.
Okay.
Bengals with the over.
Good time to remind everybody out there in YouTube land, past performance not necessarily indicative of future results.
And objects in the rearview mirror are closer than they appear.
That's very true. All right, so there you go. We've got 3 unders and an over. We've got 2 Bengals, 2 Chiefs, right?
That's correct.
You're taking the Bengals? All right, very good. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much as always. Enjoy your week off. And, of course, Rocky and I will be working very hard because we're going to have like a bunch of sketches. We got some fun stuff that we've been saving to the end, including the possibility of a very special appearance. So we'll keep that under wraps. I don't want to say too much, but
it might be me. Who knows?
It is not you. I hope you will be there.
You would not be a special appearance.
But it should be a lot of fun. We'll talk.
It would be a special appearance if you actually had a background. Say, look, here's Reichel with a different background.
If I roll out of bed, for a potential skit, that is a special appearance technically. So
you're just sitting like in a plain bedroom with a lamp on the floor. That's exactly what it looks like.
You're about 90% right. The lights are on the ceiling, but the rest is pretty accurate.
Okay.
Yeah. All you need to know is to have the extension cord hanging from the lamp and Reichel going to hook it around his neck afterwards.
You're just lucky they took the straitjacket off for about an hour. So
I just don't see you as a big home decorator.
I'm not. I'm more of a home improvement guy.
Heading to Crate and Barrel and all that shit.
I don't think so.
I prefer Cracker Barrel, but yes.
Yeah, who doesn't? All right, guys, that's it. As always, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys stopping by for 21 weeks straight. We're gonna go out with a bang here in 2 weeks, but until now, you're gonna have to, I guess, rewatch this. I don't know what.
Watch them all in order. So you can
go back and watch the whole series. Unlike those Netflix series, we've done a whole season. We're going to end up at 22 before the end of the year. So we've done
coming soon in a box set.
I think, Rocky, we've done more of these than Saturday Night Live does episodes.
I think so.
I don't know how many they do in a season, but
SNL usually does like 3 weeks and then takes 8 months off.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
They're back in June.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to do it. Hey, Scott, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio, and you can find me on the Winners and Winers YouTube page, posting videos every night.
There you go. Chris, where can we find you?
Well, I'm usually writing articles for Winners and Winers on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. I'm hosting Just Parlays with me because there's nobody else on the show, as I like to say every week. And you can catch me on Twitter at Betting Royalty if you have the time.
Very good. And yours truly has been bumped upstairs to the executive suite, but I do still do premium picks each and every day. So if you want to get my picks, Chris's picks, or grab some terrific parlays, just head over to the Winners and Winers YouTube page. The Winners and Winers webpage and check that under Expert Picks. You can catch me on Twitter at Steamroller, usually over in the try to stop by the Discord. Make sure you check out our Discord channel. Having a lot of fun over there. There's some degenerates over there, boys. Reichel, you stopped over there yet?
Time to time.
All right, very good. Definitely stop by our Discord channel. Always a lot of fun. I know Chris is there, David's there a lot, I'm there a lot. So make sure you check it out. Rocky, you been over the Discord yet?
I have not.
I don't think Mason ever leaves.
Mason spends a lot of time in Discord. That's his baby. So Rocky, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Rocky Foré. Also this weekend only, I will be in Cuba doing ghost tours of the Bay of Pigs.
Outstanding.
But are you going to have Cuban sandwiches?
Or cigars?
Yes, if you buy the exclusive tour ticket, it comes with a Cuban sandwich.
All right.
And a cigar.
That's fantastic. What's the price on that?
$987.
And 65 cents?
I'm putting all of it into Jamar Chase first touchdown.
I was going to say $968. That's, I don't know, like 2 Rockies proppies and then you suddenly free. You know?
What's the odds on Chase there, buddy?
I want to say it's like 1,200.
Did you see that tweet, by the way, about the U.S. debt being like $31 trillion? And somebody said, yeah, all you have to do is just bet $38 trillion on Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown score. And suddenly they're out of the debt's over with. And then Jalen Hurts scored a touchdown against the Giants. Yeah.
Well, see, they should have just bet on Boston Scott. Then they wouldn't have had to bet as much.
Oh, they'd be up a bunch of $1 trillion. So, there you go.
Austin Scott scored against the Giants in 10 straight games. Plus 400. Wow. How could you not take that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's basically free money.
Free money. You know what? I'll take first touchdown in the Eagles game. I'll take, you know what? Give me an easy one. Give me Kittle. First touchdown there. And I'll take the tight end. I'll take the first and second tight ends in the league. I'll take Kelsey in the Chiefs game. Chase
is down to plus 750 for first touchdown.
Damn.
Okay.
He's on there with Mixon and Kelsey.
I'll take Kelsey over Mixon.
Is this the part where I give my first touchdown guesses?
Be a good time.
Go for it.
Okay, so we're doing 1 per game or 1 per team?
1 per game.
Okay, so for the Eagles game, I will go with Brandon Ayuk. And for the Chiefs game, I'll go with, Hayden Hurst.
What's Ayuk? Like 1,200, 1,400?
I'll let you know in a second. I'm pulling it up right now.
I thought Rocky had it in front of him.
Ayuk always gets targeted in the red zone. He just always
He's at 1,400.
1,400. How does he do it, folks? Hayden Hurst is going to be damn close to that. Maybe 1,350.
I got to assume he's higher than that.
16.
Oh, yeah. Good job, Rashad.
I'll take it.
All right. Very good. Chris, what do you got for props?
I'm actually going to, if with the 49ers, I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel. He's at 1,200. I think he's due to break out here. And in the other one, I'm going to go a little bit off. I'm going to go with McKinnon because he didn't score last week, did he?
He did not.
First time in 3 years he didn't score.
First time since the Nixon administration.
Yeah.
He's at plus 1,100 right now.
Okay. I think that's a solid play right there as well. All right. Very good. All right, boys. Thanks for joining us, and everybody out there. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Off next week. We'll be back to blow it out for the Super Bowl. Until then, good luck on all of your bets, not just the championship games, but hey, got to grind it out on the basketball courts during the week. So get that done as well. You guys have a great time. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to drop us a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Scott the Steamroller Steehn. He's Rocky Foré, Chris King, and Scott Reichel. For all of us here at Winners and Winers, we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.
I'm still technically married to Jackie Kennedy. I play pickleball with myself. I'm scared of dying. I'm scared of mountain lions. Man, do I like ska music. I think checkers is too complicated. I use FPS 7. I saw No Country for Old Men 20 times in theaters. I'm not actually from Ohio. I just got lost and then turned out to be in Ohio. I can't find Nebraska. I get my news from the Farmer's Almanac. I can't do long division. I just want to cuddle. Does no one really want me? I never take the check first. I don't have credit cards. I don't believe in debt. I don't have a bank account. I only use cash. One time I fell off a horse and my legs switched places. My right one was my left one, my left one was my right one. I can't square dance anymore. My first love was a tractor. I am sexually attracted to electrical cords.